be available and ready. I invite you guys, if you're the journaling type and you like to write notes, this is a great workshop to take notes. But mostly, it's not about getting the right notes or the right thing, but the right thing for you. So if there's anything that I share or say that you want to jot down, that is for you. So let's just all take a big breath in and drop into this space and just allow anything from before this moment to just fade away. Welcome to your remembering. This is your reclamation. This is you choosing to show up and pour light on yourself, to pour forgiveness into the parts of you that have eclipsed your radiance. Breathe in. As you exhale, soften the shoulders, the face, welcoming yourself into your body. This is a space to pour love into the younger versions of you who are just learning, and to pour power into the present moment you. If you want to take a hand to your heart, just to ground into this you version and honor all the different versions and textures and colors that you've walked through. Welcome to your embodied homecoming. I want to acknowledge the presence of each of you in this space. Collectively, we are an electric current, a radiant synapse. So just welcoming yourself here and just even visualizing, if you zoom out, imagine, I don't even know, there's 43, there's still people jumping on. Think of all of us as we're tuning in and honoring ourselves, what we're activating geographically. That this electric current ripples out into the arena that you're in right now, into your family, into your neighborhood, into your city, into this whole country as we are evolving and shifting into more healing, more self-reclamation, as we're shattering patterns that have kept us small and stuck, that your presence here is pioneering a new story for lineages to come. It's pioneering a new story for your children. It's pioneering a new story in a new space. This is about you waking up louder in your uniqueness and embodying your essence. When you code yourself with the permission into your nervous system, and I'm going to invite you, you can begin to tap a little bit because we're going to talk a little bit about tapping, just tapping onto your heart. So as you code this permission into your nervous system, it illuminates out into the world. It tells your body how to hold and respond. So let's just take another big breath in. And as you exhale, sigh it out. Softening here, welcome. What's really cool, and most of you all know me, I'm a complete nerd, and physics actually shows us that our subatomic particles and the electromagnetic fields are constantly exchanging information, okay? Because if you look at yourself, you're just a bunch of particles. We're just a bunch of atoms with vibrating information that is exchanging with the atmosphere, okay? And so this is partly why when they say that we live in our own mealities, right? We have our meality and our own world around us, and that exchange of information, your state of beingness informs how that responds. And your state of beingness is going to respond to how you receive. So there's this constant exchange between the two that's so important to understand, that we're alchemical and that the body is so important to house who we are. It's not about the doing, it's about coming back to the being. And I think we're seeing a big shift, whether it's in the yoga industry or in other industries, that are inviting people to come back into their nature. That it's not about performance or dimming yourself, and we're going to talk about that tonight, dimming yourself to fit into these boxes, but arriving to the table in your true essence and knowing that you come encoded with medicine for those around you and for others. But we've been told that that's not true. We've been told that we have to fit these boxes, be like this, and then we're enough. And that has turned us into these, what is the word I'm looking for? Uniform. We're uniform. And I want to invite you to just kind of shatter off that uniform for a moment and let the you that is you to arrive in this room, and that you're safe in that expression of you tonight, that you're safe to be in this. Your presence, your body, and your belief commands the electromagnetic field. It commands the subatomic particles. And that's where the magic is. So I want to just invite you guys, we're going to take, this is a really beautiful tool just to get into your body. We're going to cross our arms and kind of make like a butterfly over your heart. And you're just going to pat, and I do this with my daughter. It's a butterfly tapping. And we're just going to pat, and I want you to repeat in your mind after me. Take a breath in. Exhale. I love and accept myself completely in this moment. I forgive all the times that I have erased my truth. I honor the human I am and the desire to belong. In this moment, I welcome the belonging back to me. I love and accept myself completely as I am. I trust every experience is an invitation. I trust that my path has a bigger picture for me. Take another big breath in. As you exhale, I welcome light into my body. I welcome radiance into my life. I am the light in my body. I am the radiance in my life. And just pause and give yourself a little hug, welcoming back. You are a powerful force. And my hope is tonight that I can convince you how powerful you are. So one thing I want to acknowledge as we start this is that nothing out there gives you power. Power happens through calibration. And so anything that you think is that gives you, you need it from the external to give you power. That's you calibrating with something and making a decision about it. So I want to invite you to write down 4 things that you've maybe convinced yourself, and I'm guilty of this too, that if once I have that, then I am powerful, then I am enough, then I am good, then I think about even to childhood of times where it's like, well, this is what it means to be good. This is what it means to be bad. This is what it means to be successful. So whether it's those pair of shoes, I'm guilty, pair of shoes to the title, to the validation. It could be the amount in your bank account that you're saying, once I have that, then I'm good enough. I've made it. It could be the lover, the partner. 4 things that you've convinced yourself of that you think that's what makes you enough. Awareness is liberation, and that's what we're going to be doing tonight. Awareness is liberation. So those 4 things, we're going to reframe and play with these for a moment. The first thing I want to say is if you look at that list, okay, and you start to play with each thing on that list, how you calibrate with it, and how the way you calibrate with it is what gives it power. How do you calibrate with it? Your co-creative process with that external thing is what creates the power. I'm going to tell a story. I told you guys that if you've been following on Instagram, I've been saying that, I kind of know what Illuminate's about, but Sedona is going to show me. I'm here in Sedona. It is my 30th birthday, and absolutely has Sedona shown me every metaphor that comes with illumination. And so you're going to see some themes, and I'm going to tell some fun stories tonight. But if you think about an outlet is completely useless until you plug something in. And whatever plugs in then comes to life. You are a co-creative force. Nothing has power unless you calibrate with it. So now these 4 things that you're longing for, or you're like, once I have, right? Now let's talk about even the fears or the shadows or the whatever, that thing. It could be a love. It could be a disappointment. You're like, oh, if only. Why does this always happen? Right? Think about maybe list 4 things that you're just like, oh, Why? Why me? I know Mother's Day was yesterday. That's a hard day for a lot of people. I know that, mental health has been a challenge in our nation. Loss. People are going through all types of transformation and challenges and initiations and edges. What are those edges? What are you afraid of? The power in that is how you calibrate with it. It's your relationship to it. And this is where our power lives. Have y'all heard that the only way something takes your power is through your attention to it? A man said to me today that if you're in your head ever about who's sitting next to you, you're like, oh, I hope this person doesn't. He was just using this as an analogy, by the way, but I thought it was a great one. He said, if there's a person that you don't want to sit next to you and you're just thinking about that person, I don't want them to sit next to me. And then they sit down next to you. That's the law of attraction, right? Oftentimes the things that we're like, oh, I don't want that. I don't want that. And then it happens. But what if you started to shift and focus on, became aware of what you do want? Okay, I'm afraid of this. Why am I afraid? Because I want to feel safe. I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. And beginning to change your story is going to change your patterns. And as you change your patterns, you change your life. You start to zoom out and you're not so sticky into the end result, but you're in this calibration with what arrives in your life, what arrives in your field. And so when we look at this list, I want you to think about it's what you infuse into it. It's what you infuse into it. A fuse, what's a fuse? It's electric. You fuse into it, bring it together, awaken it. And so it's either an accessory to you, whether we're talking about the things that we're wanting, right? And you're like, once I have that money or I have that thing, right? All of those things are just an accessory in your life, truly. And if we actually go deeper into the soul and our essence and who we are, it's the things, all the external is an accessory. And it could be a mirror, an angel, or an accessory. But it all comes back to our own calibration with it, our own relationship to it. And so you have to start recognizing that you are your own center. It's you at the center. I think about how I mentor and coach business owners, and I'm a business owner, right? At the end of the day, I'm the center of my business. I can hire 1 million coaches and do all these cool systems and all these things, but at the end of the day, who's calibrating? It's me. As a mother and my family, what I pour in, if I want peace in my family, it's a deliberate choice of how I exude peace first. I am the center. And what's so confronting about that is the self-responsibility it takes to go, wait, where am I not bringing peace into my family? Wait, where am I not taking responsibility in my business? How do you calibrate? Because we got to get to that. What's the electrical charge, right? So tonight is about illumination. And thank you all again for all the love with the Illuminate Your Nature Oracle deck and the launch and the sharing of that. We will get more into that. But I want to define, and actually, I didn't think about it till the other night. I was like, okay, I'm teaching a class on Illuminate, but what does Google, what's the definition of Illuminate, right? I never even did that before I created the card deck. I was like, what's Illuminate? So I looked it up, and it's actually a verb. So it's a verb. For some reason in my mind, I'm like, I kind of use it as an adjective, like I'm illuminating, or it's a verb. It's an action. It's an embodiment. And the verb, the way it's defined, one is to make visible or bright. To make visible or bright by shining light on it. To make visible or bright by shining light on it. To light up. To light up. The second line for the definition is help to clarify or explain. So illuminate, to illuminate something is to help clarify or explain. And I think about where a lot of people struggle, and what I witness and even the journeys I've gone through is it's a lack of awareness to something. the example, the reason I started with, let's call back some power, right? Because illuminate, it's light, like in the charge, right? Let's call back our power a little bit. Because if I'm not aware of how I'm giving my power away, or I'm not aware of this place of being in fear, or that the blind spots within myself, how can I make action for it? You don't know what you don't know. And you can't hold yourself hostage for what you don't know or what you didn't know in the past. That's the point of life, is that we continue to illuminate as we evolve, grow, age, have experiences. But if we don't harness the self-reflection, it's hard to know. And then you think about children, right? Like they don't know that, they're just playing. They don't know that if they run across the parking lot, they're not thinking like that. They don't know, right? And so it's like when you think about with yourself, being so compassionate and patient, because you don't know what you don't know. And life is an ever-evolving process of self-realization. Everything that comes into your field or everything that comes into your life is an invitation to explore your relationship with it. Every thought. So when I teach meditation, a lot of people think that meditation is this like, let's drop in, empty the mind, and no thoughts. And you're like in nirvana or something. I don't know, right? There's this belief of, I'm not good at meditation. I don't know how to meditate. Meditation is just contemplation. And meditation is the process of witnessing your thoughts, not becoming your thoughts. And so if you think of your thoughts as visitors, or you think about even people in chapters of your life are visitors, or you think about that lesson as a visitor, what are they revealing to you? What awareness is it bringing in? So I want to invite you right now to reflect, what are you not seeing? Do you need to slow down for a moment to reflect, to see? Because everything is figure outable. There's always something more to something. And you don't have to solve it all. We're going to talk about that. But it's really this process of becoming aware. And I think it's funny because I want to just share. So thinking about illumination, right? This concept of making visible or bright. And I've intentionally, in the places I've stayed while being in Sedona, I wanted to make sure I had views of the Red Rocks from where I was staying. And it's been magical to wake up to the sunrise. And I'm like, I keep the windows open because I want this sun to come in because it helps me wake up in the morning. But to see that soft sunrise, right? Like the way day breaks. And when you think about that as a metaphor, because nature is going to always show us truths, by the way, just look out in nature, it'll tell you. So one process of illumination is this, it slowly opens and unfolds. It builds on itself and then boom, you're aware. You kind of get a little bit and then you get a little more and a little more light pours in. And then all of a sudden the whole sky is filled with light. And that happens in you. Don't rush your healing. It's a Trevor Hall quote. Don't rush your healing. Don't rush the solving. It's going to be figure outable, but maybe there's a journey to it for you that's initiating, that's activating more calibration with intention. You don't have to rush all the knowing. Most of you guys know I lead yoga teacher trainings, right? So part of training people to teach yoga, a lot of people come to the doorway and they go, I got to memorize the poses. I got to know it all. It's hard because yoga is so expansive. I mean, if you I think about the best metaphor for yoga is think about ice cream. Yoga's ice cream. And then there's pistachio and chocolate and mint and strawberry. And then there's lactose intolerant ones. And then it's so broad. And to know it all, I almost feel like you dissolve your potency, because if you're all of it, what is your flavor? Who are you when you meet yoga? Who are you when you meet meditation? Who are you when you meet that partner? Who are you when you meet those amazing pair of shoes? It's about your essence first and what you bring in, and then you calibrate with the external. And it's a journey. And one season you're this, and the next season you're that. 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m., 7 a.m. Those are very different energies in our sky. But we have to let the timing unfold, give time. But are we accountable to the journey? Are we available to calibrate with the things that arrive in our life? We will talk about escapism tonight, because that's one of the biggest things I see people blocking themselves with is they're like, oh, I don't have it all, so I'm just not good at it. My love, that is a trauma response. I don't know it all, so I'm not good at it. Not for me. That's a trauma response. We get afraid because there's probably been a time in your life where if you didn't know, you were judged or you were looked down upon. Maybe you were embarrassed, someone ashamed you for it. This is how we heal, by letting ourselves be in the learning. And it's unlearning these patterns. Can you let your life have some sunrise with it? The morning sunrise, it wakes you up, and it's a journey. You don't get it all in the moment. And what's the fun of that anyways? Okay. What's the fun? Right? Google's amazing, but think about how quick you move on from one subject to the other. A chapter in your life is meant to have its chapter. Don't rush the healing. Don't rush the process. Let the sunrise awaken. And as you do that, the waking up, you're ready for day. The waking up, you're ready for day. The second thing with this example, so, all right, I'm going to give you guys the story, but I don't want to, I had the craziest experience the other night. So I'm okay. Obviously I'm here, I'm alive. But I was electrocuted. I'm okay. Luckily it didn't, I don't even know. So how did it happen? I was holding a necklace and the chain, and I walked out of I came out of the bathroom, sat it down on my nightstand, and some hotels, they have like those outlets on the side of the nightstand. And I sat the necklace down on the nightstand. And by the way, I almost didn't tell you guys this story, but I feel like this happened partly because I'm teaching this class tonight. So here we go. So I sit the necklace down onto the nightstand, and somehow the chain touched the outlet, and it went like this big, and I'm like, right? I dropped the necklace, and I'm like shaking, and I'm like, okay, fire, no fire. I'm alive. Am I alive? And it was a shock, right? And at this point, from medical advice, I should be fine, because that happened Saturday night. But what I realized is oftentimes, because when we are looking for a truth, or we are like, sometimes truth hits us so hard, it shakes, it hurts, it burns, it rips us open. And that's sometimes the illuminations arrive in the shaking up. It stops you, it slows you down. You almost can't breathe. Sometimes it happens, I call them biographical disruptors. A biographical disruptor is when your story changes. It could be a loss. It could be a new job. It could be getting married. It's when the story changes, a biographical disruptor. So when we have these disruptors in our life, and it's like everything's falling apart, everything is working against me, or I messed up, I'm a failure, right? Those are the initiations that activate new awareness. And if we stop making ourselves wrong for the human experience, for being halted, for being shocked, and then we get curious about what's slowing us down. Why do I need it? Okay, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to be with what I am with right now. I'm going to mother myself and attend to my nervous system and my body, and not make yourself wrong for that. Imagine how much more empathy and compassion would permeate the earth, would permeate in our lives. Whether it's shocking news, or maybe it's a realization of, ooh, I thought one way and I don't think that way no more. That sucks. That's like a blow to the ego, right? So these moments that are big, and you could even reflect of like, what did you take enough time with those biographical disruptors? What did it teach you? Did it slow you down, or did it speed you up in realization? Did it take you out of the game, or was it putting you back in the game? What did you allow to happen? Did you ask and get curious? I heard once, it's like a lot of people who say they don't believe in magic, or like beautiful things don't happen in life, or like there's a flat energy about how they view the world. The reason that happens is when you live with your eyes closed, when you sleepwalk and you believe that miracles can't happen. Guess what? Your eyes will be closed when the miracles happen. You don't have it because you didn't try. You didn't realize because you avoided. So when we get halted, electrocuted, slow down, stop, reflect, receive. If it's not the way you thought it was going to be, let it be the way it's meant to be. So yeah, I'm okay, guys. It's all good. It's just a great story. And then I thought about it when I was preparing with it. I was like, I wasn't going to share, but then I was like, you know what? This is that's a crazy Mel story. So officially I've survived that. Halting is a powerful, powerful thing. Whatever halts you. And I believe even deeper, it felt like a direction changed in my life almost. I felt like it was an initiation. It stopped me and it got me thinking. And in that, and we're going to talk about how to sit with yourself. But it was like I was having a conversation between myself and God, and shifting and rearranging, and boom, more awareness. And that's the process. The last one is the aha moments. And these are where you are just driving and you just realize. It's just the realizations. Do you listen? Do you look? Are your eyes closed? And can you be compassionate with those in their own path with their eyes closed? You don't have to convince them of magic. You don't have to convince them of beauty. Unfortunately, sometimes it might be an electrical shock that will awaken something, right? But that's not yours to determine or control. But this is about you. Are you walking with your eyes closed? Do you listen? Do you let the light come on? Do you receive the way light pours into your life? And when awareness shows up, or when a truth pops up and you're like, ooh, a little uncomfortable, can you just let more information come in and let it unfold and not react, but receive what is arriving at the table? Because if you don't pay attention, magic doesn't happen. I think about my daughter she's like in a season right now where she's obsessed with messages from God and the butterflies, and like the message that the butterfly brought, or feathers, or like little things. And I love it because I like live like that. I'm like, oh, I feel like that was an affirmation. But it's so precious to watch her, because when she sees a butterfly, she stops and she goes, oh, Mom, what do you think that means? I'm like, what does your heart say? I don't know what it means. What does your heart say? Right? And she's always like, what's my heart say? What's my heart say? What does your heart say? You don't need to know all the answers out there, but what's your heart saying? Why are you seeing that synchronicity again and again? What does it feel like? Get out of being right. Get out of being right. We'll talk more about that. And I want to also say that if you feel or you think that you need to dim your light and dim yourself because it's just too much. It's too much for them. It's too much for that person. It's too much. Well, I'm just going to tell you that's too little. They're being too little. You're not too much. They're too little. Okay. And when we stop dimming ourselves, we actually activate. What does fire do? Fire spreads. What does light do? It awakens. It reveals darkness. Consciousness and awareness pull us out of ignorance. I'm scared of the dark because I just can't see. But when the light comes on, now I see. So when you are dimming, you're keeping the light hidden from those around you. Of course, I laugh. My husband's very practical. He's a really grounded guy. Thank goodness, because we'd be a hot mess if he was like me. But he's very, very grounded, right? And so, of course, he's used to like my crazy things that happen. And when I told him about the electrocution, He was like, I would not believe you, but I mean, I showed him the pictures of the damage because we had some collateral damage. My necklace exploded and the outlet was jacked and my charger was destroyed. So he's like, there's got to be a practical explanation. He's like, it's just, and I was like, I think it's a message. But here's the thing. It's amazing witnessing because he's like, wow, like there's more magic in life. And like, instead of being like, that's weird, stop. Over the years, it's like, wow, we're so supported. We're protected. I'm like, there's that essence. I never have to convince because the light doesn't have to convince because once people see, they start to see. You don't have to convince. Stop dimming yourself because you're too much. They're just too small. And when you allow yourself to shine, it actually activates awareness, empowerment, bravery, courage in others. When they see you walk into the beat of your own drum and embracing your truth and embracing your expression, it's like the most sacred relief of, I can be safe here. I love when I meet people who embrace their quirkiness. If you spill stuff, you're clumsy, you're human. It feels so safe because we kind of are all clumsy. Let's be honest, right? Like there's all of us have this exhale to us. But when we are programmed and we feel like we need to show up a certain way all the time, right? Vulnerability is shared connection. And it's not you dumping out all your stuff on the table. It's just you being lighthearted about the human experience. I always say, like, soft things do not shatter. Soft things do not shatter. Why? Because when we're so tense and tight about life, let me tell you, you just get like a little knocked over, the whole world collapses. But if you can be malleable, if you can be flexible, if you can be adaptive, now you're co-creating. Now you're calibrating. You're not afraid because you allow it to unfold. And that's where the magic lives. That's where the miracles come in, not from your human mind control, but from the way God positions new things for you. So yeah, you being loyal to your truth. So you being loyal to your truth is not rejecting anyone. I think that sometimes we be like, oh, I got to dim, or I don't want to be radiant and happy, or my expression, because I don't want someone to feel rejected or them to feel bad or for them to be annoyed, right? But here's something that's really important, is that by you being loyal to your truth, you're not rejecting anyone. You're not hurting anyone. In fact, it's you honoring the integrity of a relationship. It's you honoring the integrity of a relationship instead of telling a lie. Because when you dim your truth and you're not loyal to your truth and you go, okay, yeah, cool, I'm good with it. No, you're not. You're lying. And you know what happens? People build their belief about you in a lie, and they fall in love with you in a lie, and they trust you in a lie. When you are not loyal to your truth, you're telling a lie. I think about how boundaries are so protective in relationships, of being like, not today, or no. And understanding and reframing the way we are in relationship, and knowing that actually love is saying, hey, I honor you where you're at. Oh, you didn't want that? Cool. I love your uniqueness. It has nothing to do with me. And whenever someone tells you something about them where they say, I don't want to do that, or no, or that's not my thing, they're not rejecting you. They have enough integrity in their love for you that they're telling you the truth. That's a hard one, I know, but it's important to say, because truth is the light, right? It's being able to make the light. It's to see. And sometimes when we're feeling really heavy in our bodies, or we're feeling heavy, it's because your truth is heavy. It's heavy to hold something in. If you hate your job and you're trying to pretend you like it, right? It's gonna make you feel heavy. If you hate the color of your living room wall, and you're like, I don't want to, these things make us heavy. Your truth is heavy. But when you allow, it's little by little invitations, and anything that's coming up tonight as you're listening to this or thinking about these things, you don't have to tackle it all, just in the now moment. A way to play with this, it's kind of like flirting a little bit. So kind of flirt with providence and flirt with the unfolding of your life. In the now moment, what is my truth? Okay, I want matcha. It's my birthday. I don't care if it's late. I know it's got caffeine, but I want matcha tonight. That's my truth. So I got my matcha. If you're in my trainings, you know my matcha story. So, but it's an example of don't solve out your whole life. Okay. Don't start observing and psychoanalyzing every relationship you have just now, right now. Are you comfortable? Did you really want to wear what you're wearing? Where am I telling little lies to myself? And in the now moment, what is my truth? If you just start playing and kind of flirting with the now moment and going, okay, what's really me? What's really my truth? It's a beautiful way to start playing in this. Okay. To start playing with it. Just right now, what do I need for myself? And literally take your hand on your heart. Notice how this feels. It's grounding. It's going, what do I need? Do you ever ask yourself that? We'll talk more about that here in a moment. But illumination is a remembering. It's a remembering. It's remembering who you are. It's remembering the way that when you were 3, 4, you just kind of did what, the clumsy walking into like what you wanted to play. Oh, I like that color. Oh, it's starting to allow these organic parts of you, that things you always loved, to come back to the surface. Intention deck, or the intention of the Oracle deck, for example. So just to kind of give why did I create this? So I see a big issue of us being stuck in this performance and of course, in the yoga world, I see this with like, I got to be able to touch my toes. I got to be able to look that way, whatever, right? We see all those performance, the programming, right? So what I would see though, is people going, I want to break out of that and start to build relationship with themselves. But what would happen is we get so addicted to listening to every podcast, every self-help book. We're like, I'm going to like connect with myself, but there's this incoherence in our embodiment of feeling it. Because you can tell yourself, I am safe all day, but if you don't feel safe, you don't feel safe. You're not safe. Does that make sense? So how do we get ourselves to train the nervous system? So when you pull a card, and I'm going to close tonight with a card reading, we're going to have some fun. When you pull a card, the intention is that when you read it in the book, you're able to read about how of course I have a little message and that comes from my heart to you, but you can read it. And then here's a pose of a somatic expression, a yoga pose and I guide you in how to train your nervous system. So you actually feel the message. So your body remembers. So you're able to restructure those neural patterns where it doesn't become something you do and strive for, but it's who you are, that you are safe. You are peace. You are the calibrator, the creatrix, the awakening. Like you have it. And honestly, you have it all. You have it all. You are a library of magnificence. And we have just forgotten that because we're all trying to fit in the same story. And we're not. We're all very unique. We're all very unique. I'm going to talk more about that here in a moment. But I want to acknowledge that self-care is a decision that you make in your soul. Self-care is a decision that you make in your soul to care for yourself, to care for this body, to care for the instrument that you are, and let it play the music that is meant to be heard. I used to be insecure about my voice. And many of you guys know I work with I don't do as much anymore, but I did a lot of work with the US military and I would always say, okay, I'm not the poster child for leading soldiers, and so I was training drill sergeants in how to take these teachings, right, and infuse it into culture, and then of course into PT. And I was always insecure of my voice, but somehow, I mean, things move forward. They listen, right? And then training them, and then they trained and shared. And it's poured into the US Army, and it's amazing to witness. But I think about from that to the community, whether it's like people I've trained to whatever, I believe all of us we can hate our voice, but the reality is you come with a code, and that there are people, because there's been times I've been rejected more times than I could count. Our voice signals a alignment for us in a way. So when you speak, no, not everybody is going to say yes or understand. But your voice, literally your essence, you have a frequency and a sound, okay? It unlocks the right things for your path. You have to trust the resonance of who you are. The sound that you have, the body that you have, that you are uniquely positioned and perfectly created for your highest good, for your path. No one sounds like you. No one does it the way you do it. You're irreplaceable. And it's time to remember that our voice and our essence is the greatest gift, that this is the medicine that God put onto earth, was to bring your energy, your presence into your arenas of your life. And when you dim it, you're erasing it. You are safe to be heard. In fact, you are so perfectly designed in your essence that when you speak, it actually protects you. You are protected by the uniqueness of your voice, the essence of who you are. Because what doesn't align and doesn't work is not going to work. It's not going to resonate with the instrument that you are. It's going to feel off. And that is protection. Rejection is protection. Rejection is protection. If my voice doesn't resonate, it's protection, not only for me, but for the other person, because this is just not meant to happen. And that's okay. They're not wrong. I'm not wrong. There's 7 billion people in the world. We will magnetize and find the right people. We will find the right path. You have to trust that if you erase your voice and you erase your truth and you erase your light, that you are more vulnerable for falling into patterns that are not you. You are more vulnerable for taking on jobs and relationships and places and things that are not you. Stop erasing your truth. Stop erasing your voice. So I'm going to give you guys a prompt for a moment. So self-care is a decision we make with our soul. Self-care is not what you do. I'm sorry. The bubble baths are nice. The lattes are sweet, but it's not what you do. Self-care is who you are. It's your essence. It's who you are. So I want to invite you, what feels like self-care to you? What feels like caring for yourself? What feels like charging the battery of your soul? What is the texture of it? What's the texture? Woo, texture. What's the sensation? Just so you can write this down real fast. Like, what comes to mind? Like, ooh, it feels so good. Like the sun kissing your face, the coziness of a sweater or your favorite blanket. What is the flavor? What does that feel like for you? What's a flavor? And it's just what you love. No apologies. What do you love? What do you love? What's the sound? I want to invite you to connect with the sensations of you nourishing you, not the story, but the sensations. The sensations. Get it in your body. Because when we get back into our beingness, this restores our nervous system. This is going to aid the rest, digest, and repair. It's how your body repairs. And we can create new patterns like this. I'm telling you, I have studied too much about neurobiology, quantum biology, and the mechanics of our nervous system. to be able to convince myself that I can't change patterns. I can't lie to myself. I'm like, of course I go down this path because now I can't make excuses because we can change patterns. It is 1,000% through your accountability, the choices you make. Because when you zoom out of your life, all it was is just a bunch of choices. What are the choices you're making? How can you bring in more self-care? But here's the thing is that, especially when we start to deepen into self-knowing, I know there's a lot of stuff out there about manifestation or, I guess spiritual, the spiritual stuff to the yoga, to the meditation, to this tool and that tool and all of that. And here I am creating an oracle card deck or this intention card deck. That's another tool. But at the end of the day, do not use these things as escapism. Oh, I did that, check. Or I'm going to keep going in cycles of like trying to figure it out. I'm going to meditate my way out of my problems. You guys, that's not how it actually happens. The meditation, contemplation, these tools are for reflection so you can arrive to action, to make a choice. Do not use these things for escapism. Because there are many, many paths. I mean, obviously anything can be escapism, right? Anything that pulls us out of our power or our accountability to making choices that are shining our truth. Because when we fall into escapism, it keeps us in the dark. It throws you into the basement. And when you use escapism, it distracts you from initiations. So sometimes we'll use escapism because, whatever it is, because things are hard. It's feeling challenging. Every challenge is an initiation. And I firmly believe, I'm going to share my belief, take it, leave it. You don't have to believe anything I say. I look at humans as we're souls, right? Like we're here on Earth School. Earth School is not easy. It's not. There's a lot of curriculum. There's a lot of the unexpected. We feel so much. We are so much. There's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of all these things that happen in our life. And so when we look at the human experience and who we are as souls going through a curriculum and that nothing and nobody actually belongs to me, because when I die, I'm not taking any of that with me, right? We know these things, but the truth is nothing actually belongs to me other than the choices or the legacy or what was my story and impact here. Did I love? Did I play? Did my soul learn? So when an initiation or a hardship showed up, did I avoid? Or did I allow myself to feel all the feels and then yield some power, turn it into usable energy? So I can illuminate courage, so I can illuminate hope, so I can illuminate love, so I can illuminate vulnerability, so I can illuminate connection. Do we take these experiences and turn them into usable energy? Because that's what they are. It's an initiation. And so can you forgive yourself for judging your initiations? My love, if life has just thrown some shit at you and you're just like, this sucks. I don't know why I keep getting the wrong cards dealt to me. You're being initiated. You're being qualified. Like I said, it's not putting you out, it's bringing you back in. And there's so much that is to unfold that you can't see. We're not meant to see it yet. It's going to come, but you're learning. Forgive yourself. Be kind to yourself. Co-create with yourself. Because that old story or belief around like I'm not good enough, or this keeps happening, or I'm bad, or whatever your story is erasing your truth because you're a warrior. You are a powerhouse. You are magnificent. You are a library of lessons and wisdom that not everybody can understand, and they're not meant to understand you, but the right people are going to resonate with you. Or you may be preparing for a lesson to guide and walk someone else through their own heartbreak. We don't know. And can you be present and allow what you feel is what you feel and work through it and be with it? Don't erase your truth. Don't erase your magic. Don't erase the hope that there's something calibrating that's expanding you, initiating you. Because that old story or that belief that is dimming your light is actually distracting you from your freedom. And I'm going to tell you guys something. This is a little edgy, but I'm going to say it because I feel like it needs to be said. If you can't hold duality, that means you are not free. If you can't hold duality, that is a sign that you are under a program. You're not free. If you can't go, that person hurt me and I have some compassion because they only know what they know and they can only love me to the extent that they can love this, or they can only meet me as deep as they've met myself. Or, I laugh, right? It's like the dualistic stuff. If you can't hold duality of like, oh, that person loves snowboarding, but is, I don't know, what's the opposite of snowboarding, right? I mean, you guys get the point. Oh, they believe this and they believe that. What? Yeah, we're dualistic. We got to get out of this black and white thinking. It's killing creativity. It's killing connection because we're all lying about who we are. And then no one's feeling seen. If you can't hold duality, you're not free. And I invite you, can you create empathy and detach from the control and just let people be people? And then for you, go, oh, wow, actually, I love this and this, even if it doesn't fit into the external box, right? I'm a yoga teacher, yeah. But the way I teach teachers is not the way a lot of teachers teach teachers. I have my own method and my process and the way I do it because I've walked through things that I am convicted by on how to do it. It's my medicine to the world. It's my gift, but someone else is going to have a different belief. I don't make them wrong for that. They can make me wrong for that, but I'm not making me wrong for that. Right? I haven't shared this out loud publicly yet, but I'm writing for Yoga Journal now, but I'm Yoga Journal's Vedic astrologer. There's beliefs that, to do that work, you have to have 30 plus years of experience. You can believe that, but I don't believe that. There's duality, and I don't have to hold myself hostage by an external projection, but can I use that as a mirror of self-compassion and compassion for them? That I can, and it's okay that there's people that disagree. I'm going to walk, even if it doesn't make sense to everybody else. Or I can be very dynamic, and there's a lot of, and even me, myself, there's a lot of duality and different essences, right? I can be sad girl poet in a heartbeat, and then I can be your biggest cheerleader ever, okay? Duality. You are dualistic. You have this texture that is so expansive. But when you go, I can only be like this, and I'm going to pretend I don't like that, or I don't, we always joke about like veganism and yoga, right? They go great together, but eating meat and loving yoga, right? The joke about you can eat meat and love yoga. Stop putting yourself in these boxes. It's exhausting, and you are going to exhaust yourself even more trying to keep up with the lie. So being able to be free. So as we get ready to kind of wrap this up, I just want to say that awareness is the gift of illumination. Awareness is the gift. And that whether it's yoga, whatever, this process of self-discovery, and it's going to look different through different seasons of your life. And if you get so stuck in figuring it all out or trying to solve it, it's a trap. I laugh at the way that I was like, okay, I'm going to teach this class, but show me, Sedona, like show me what I'm supposed to teach. Right. And from the sunrise to being electrocuted, there you go. There's curriculum. And you just got to let life happen, you guys. You got to let it unfold. You got to let it unfold and be patient. So I want to invite you, what are you obsessed with of solving right now? What are you obsessed with solving? And here's what we're going to do. Every time you get obsessed with solving something, I want you to ask yourself, can I take action about it right now? If no, let go, let God. If yes, then take responsibility and actually do something. One little baby step. Because just so you know, even if it's a really, really big thing, like a really big thing, and you're like, I don't have all the answers. Well, just what is the one little thing? Because what happens is if you think about like the chain reaction, if you just do a little, it activates. And then like I think about like what's that little ball thing that like goes back and forth? You like drop one ball and it hits and it goes doop, and then it like kind of goes like that. I don't know what those are called, but I think everybody knows what those are, right? Your little choice actually hits all the other balls on that thing and knocks something else and moves things in your life. It's not about how big your action is. It's just, are you showing up? Are you embodying? Are you shifting? Are you changing? Are you impacting what you want to create in your life? It doesn't happen if you don't try. It doesn't happen if you don't try. Can you allow yourself and give your heart a chance and try it out? And if you fail, there is no failure. That's a lie. Because actually what happens, you'll be just redirected every time, or you're like, oh gosh, that was protection. I can't tell you guys how many times I've experienced rejection and in hindsight go, oh my gosh, thank God they didn't answer, or thank God that happened, or thank God, oh my gosh, protection. Trust that you are always, always protected. And then watch how fearless you are as you walk in your life. So here's the thing, as we're shifting into this, Newton's cradle. Yes. Thank you, Michelle. So when we think about everything we've worked on tonight about ourselves, now let's kind of bring this all together into your relationship with you. And there's some homework I want to invite you guys to connect with. So going back to the purpose of the intention card deck, right? It gives you these tools to come back to your body. But I want you to treat it like a conversation with yourself. That when you draw a card, it's you talking with you. And you start to play in this, like, do you talk with yourself? Do you sit at the table with yourself and ask honest questions with yourself? And just start playing in that. And then on the next level of this is I want to invite you that in these next 2 weeks, take yourself on 3 dates. It doesn't have to be out to dinner. It can. You can take yourself out to dinner. You can take some time for contemplation and just to carry on with this connection with the light. There's something really powerful about sitting underneath a moonlight or the sunrise or the sunset or fire. Natural lights, what they awaken, just being in that presence. It doesn't mean you meditate, because most of the time meditation can feel like very active, but can you just be with yourself? Maybe you take yourself on a date to read a book. Maybe you take yourself on a date to snuggle up, grab all the blankets and just get so cozy and just love yourself and just, it feels so good to be supported. Give yourself permission. 3 things in the next 2 weeks. Make a date. Let yourself go. Go get your nails done. Do what you need to do, whatever. How do you attend to yourself? Build that relationship. Treat yourself as if it's like another essence. I always kind of joke. It's like, there's the human me. It's kind of avatar Melissa. And there's like the essence, higher self, spiritual me, right? Like that's like my soul watching this human avatar freak out. And then the soul kind of, okay, Melissa, Mel, you are strong. You are loved. You're supported. Come back. That dance happens all the time with me within myself. And I allow the conversation and I walk myself back home to my truth. Be that for yourself. Stop looking for it out there, because nobody knows you like you know you. And actually, the more you do it for yourself, watch the love that comes in from out there. Watch the people that fade away. It's protection. It's because you were lying and that relationship wasn't built on a truth. Goodbye. Many blessings. It's all okay. They're not wrong. I'm not wrong. And being in this space with the relationship with yourself. So as we close tonight, I know some of you guys do have the deck, some of you guys don't, and that's totally okay. That's for you to play, but I want to do for fun a reading. And right now I want you guys to pick, and you can write this on your piece of paper. a number through 1 through 3. 1, 2, or 3. Write it down. 1, 2, or 3. Write it down. What's the number? Once you have your numbers, so I'm going to pull for the ones who put 1. If you were a 1, 1, then you got this. This is going to be for you. So I'm just going to release. So this is your intention as you close tonight. If you were a 1, release. And I'm going to read from the book, but I might say other things. For everybody, if you weren't a 1, this might still be useful. To release. The release is on page 49. All right. When we release the illusion of control, we liberate ourselves out of fear. Fear is the soil of control. When we infuse our efforts into forcing, fixing, and making it happen, this sharpens the edges within us and builds armor over our eyes. We become constricted, tense, and relentless in our own narrative of safety. If we pull this card, reflect on what and where you are forcing. By the way, what you're forcing is your lack of letting go. When you're the one always doing, you're not making room for God. You're not making room for miracles. You got to give space. Co-create. That when you're in stillness or you're in surrender, when you're in the I don't know, let me figure it out tomorrow. All right, Spirit, work on behalf for me. When you slow down, you allow that, you give space for things to rearrange, for the Newton ball thing. I forgot the name already, but that thing to happen. You got to let yourself have that space. So when we're forcing, this card is here to remind you that either it is not happening because you are being catapulted into a higher and different direction that your future self will delight in. By the way, I think it's so powerful to start to think about your future self in a way like, wow, my future self will thank me that I did the laundry because I'll have what I need in the next week, right? My future self will thank me for the courage of just putting in the work right now. My future self will thank me for saying no to that toxic thing. So if you start thinking like that, it's really powerful. But it could also be asking you to make room to allow the divine to make a miracle. Explore what it feels like to allow life to surprise you in the most beautiful ways, where you are resisting your blessings because you are only viewing it from one angle. Be available to be directed. The events are unfolding to equip you in everything you need for your highest good. You are safe. You are divinely guided. You are already the power you are seeking. What were I just saying? You are the center. You are your own center. And the power, the outlet doesn't work unless you plug yourself in, right? Well, don't do that, obviously, but metaphor. So you remember that part of the letting go, if you're struggling with letting go, I just invite you to start to go, okay, if it feels too big to let go, can you just start to play a little bit though? Remember I was talking about kind of flirting with the now moment of like, what do I need right now? What's most supportive right now? Because often we're going, what do I need to fix this? Or I got to solve this. Just keep it in the now. Right now, I don't know the big, but right now, what will nourish me? And play with that. Okay. Number 2s. You're a number 2. This one's for you. The softening. The softening. Okay, so if you were a number 2, you had the softening, and this is on page, oh my, okay. The softening, 36. All right. Walk as a loved human. Explore what awakens when you choose love in each now moment. Even if it is with slow rhythms, in the slower moments, the universe aids us in reorienting so we can align back into love and steadiness. Never waste your pauses. Judging only stalls the blessings arranging to come to you. Catch yourself through mental chatter that does not serve, discomfort in the body, and gut instincts that are telling you something is off. So listen. Slow down. And in those moments, we get to rise back with a new choice, new insight, and an excitement to express what became from that becoming. So I want to invite you, if you're a two, or anybody who's resonating with this message, if you practice walking as a loved human and just soften the armor, let's take some of that armor off and just walk and inherently believe and take it day by day. I believe today that I am always loved. I'm loved by everybody. And I know this sounds kind of corny, but just have some fun with this. I am loved by everybody. I'm loved. I'm loved. I'm loved. I'm loved. Watch your perspective on the world completely shift, not into naivety, but into confidence. Your light fluffs up like I'm seeing butterfly wings. It's like, it's soft. Like I'm loved and I am loved, and it's easier to love, and it's easier. Because I know I'm loved, I'm not moved by the resistance in front of me or somebody judging me. It can't be judged because I'm loved. You can't reject me because I'm loved. You can't hurt me because I'm love. I see you and I love you for you and your journey. And let it go. And live your life and walk as a loved human. That was beautiful. Okay, my threes. If you're a three, this is for we. Just kidding. I had a rhyme. I rhymed the other ones. All right, this is for my threes. If you are a three, ooh, the burning. The burning. I love how these all aligned with what we were talking about tonight. The burning. Okay, threes, here you go. We have been taught to fear fire. However, fire is the catalyst to transform. Where there is heat, there is renewal. Where there is heat, there is purification. Where there is heat, there is change. What feels like burning down is actually the process to refine what is relevant and realize what has to go. If you pulled this card, this is your affirmation to not extinguish the flames, but to calibrate with them. The fire is where your desires, vision, and drive supply or fuel the wind that makes fire do what fire does. This is an affirmation that you are going through a chain reaction. Okay, if you picked number 3, you're going through a chain reaction right now. The fire is part of the transformation and you are in it. Your phoenix is being birthed through this process, so digest it all and use the heat to activate clarity. Keep what is meaningful and release what is not. Let it burn away and move you into a deeper alignment with your desires. I think about with fire too, right? That's how you purify gold. You have to purify gold, you put it in fire and you know it's pure when you see your reflection, right? And in a way, I love the metaphor of that with God, that oftentimes it's like the reflection, it brings us into refinement. What page was that? I opened the book and it was the burning. So that message obviously needed to come out. It was page 14. So, but yeah, I think that if you guys are going through, if you're a 3, don't run, let change you. So if you were a 1, it's time to let go. It's time to release and just keep it simple. Now moment. If you were a 2, it's time to exhale, soften a little bit into the support around you and walk as a loved human. Believe that you are loved. Believe that love encircles you and that love's going to protect you and love's going to change things for you. And if you were number 3 and you're in the fire, it's changing you. And the you that rises as this new phoenix is going to have a wider and more potent expression. But if you run and extinguish the flame, you're going to just basically be a burnt bird. That's just what came through. You're going to be a burnt bird, right? Let the process evolve you. And that's what life is. And maybe all 3 resonate for all of you. I pray that this inspired you. I pray that this turned on the light within you. pay attention to the inklings, the realizations, the inquiries, and see what is exuded through your inquiry, your reflection. Bring it into your body, build a relationship with yourself, and don't take it so serious. Start to play, be your own expression. The world needs your medicine. The world needs your truth. I thank you all for being here with me on my birthday. If you want to continue the path of deepening into self-knowing, we do have our Vedic astrology program that you can jump into, which is awesome for understanding seasons and cycles in our nature, or even teacher training. It's much more than a certificate. It is a process of self-reclamation through the body, mind, and spirit. So anyways, thank you all so much. Don't erase your light, share your magic, go play, bring the light to the world. Let's light it up. And thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Good night.